Board of Commissioners order, please rise for a moment of silence, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, today I pray for each body, mind, and heart of those participating in this meeting, as well as the lives we will encounter afterwards. Thank you for the men and women who serve our country in leadership roles, from frontline workers to the protection of our nation. We ask that you draw near to all during the holidays. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held December 15th, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, are there any guests concerning county business at this time?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I just wanted to approach the commissioners in the county this morning in a little update to my office. Success is in the numbers. In September and October of 2021, I presented to the Board of Commissioners a contract agreement to join alliances with Penn Credit, an outside third-party collection agency to assist our collections division in the clerk of court's office with the severe delinquent accounts that we had exhausted all of our efforts in collecting and resources, and we had no success. To my dismay, I was rejected by 2 commissioners due to an upcoming election. A few weeks after the election, this agreement was passed and actions were taken to start the process. It took approximately 4 months to have the process in motion. However, it took another 3 months for Penn Credit to be available in our case management system. An operation to choose sending the account directly to Penn Credit through AOPC, which is Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts. Year to date, we have sent $8,407,871.80 to Penn Credit, which is approximately 3,889 accounts. Keep in mind that with this next stat from Penn Credit, it has only been actively collected upon for approximately 7 months due to the delay in getting everything finalized within CPCMS, which is our case management system. Thus far, we have been paid $38,910.37. Again, that's over the past 7 months, which is approximately $6,700 monthly. Monthly, we're sending currently between 300 and 550 new accounts to Penn Credit. I'd like to say that this has proven success with no cost to the taxpayers or to the county. I feel it's been a very viable contract that we all signed upon. And I'd like to add that another department has reached out to me with Penn Credit's information, wanting it, that they may also be joining alliances with them, so you may have another contract coming your way. They are exceptional customer service based and have been there at every email, every phone call, giving great feedback on everything. So thank you for the opportunity to have the agreement signed.
Thank you
Thanks,
for the
Sarah.
report.
Thank
Any other guests? Hearing none, we'll move on.
The report of executive sessions held.
There were none.
Next item is the final adoption of the 2023 budgets. For adoption, the 2023 budgets, inclusive of the operating funds budget, expenditures totaling $59,029,827. Capital project funds, expenditures totaling $9,598,825. Special funds budget, expenditures totaling $7,721,898.
Motion adopted.
Second.
Discussion. My question for my fellow commissioners here is we are now looking at 3 million plus deficit this coming year, taking the fund balance down even further from a beginning balance of just over 8 million to less than $5 million. You saw the letter that came in, our increase on our projected contribution to our retirement system. That could go up, could go down, but that, right there, we're looking at $400,000. I am really concerned with not improving or approving at least $500,000, which I suggested last year already. My concern is, what are you gonna do next year if we're already down to that $4+ million and you continue to spend down $3+ more million operating at a deficit? You can only do it so long. My projection for next year is you'll have to increase taxes 2 mils plus to make up what you are spending annually. If we do not do an increase, we'll be facing that large increase in millage, or you could spend down that fund balance of $4 million roughly and have to take out tax anticipation notes come next January or the following January if we do not do something to control this. I am really disappointed in my fellow commissioners here for not having the foresight to see what we're approving here. We're looking at $800,000 set aside for salary increases. $500,000 wouldn't even cover that. Barely, just barely maybe, but won't even cover that. What happens next year? At $8 million or at $800,000, you cannot keep going without doing something. You're just gonna kill the taxpayers in the long run or put the shaft to any future boards of commissioners, so.
Well, then let me interject. It does not seem to have been a concern in 2012 or 2019. In 2012, the Board of Commissioners, of which you were a member, increased taxes 48.7%. In 2019, just after the election, the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner, you were a member, raised taxes 19.5% or 2 mils. So therefore, historically, there appears to be a precedence for those types of increases. I have no doubt in myself, my ability to assume responsibility should a future tax increase be absolutely necessary. It isn't absolutely necessary now. I agree with Commissioner Arner that we are in a good situation, not a great situation, but we're in a sufficient financial situation that we can forego any notable increase in taxes this year. Next year, it's going to be a hard decision, mostly for those of us who are true fiscal conservatives. And we're all going to have to tighten our buckles, or there is a good possibility that a tax increase would be proposed, but it is not necessary this year.
And what's in the budget, like right now, or for next year, what we cut out unnecessary things is where we got to today to not have the tax increase. And like I said, if we have to cross that next year, but I always said, you don't raise taxes because you can, you raise taxes if it's needed. You know, and that's where I stand. I've always said that, and I think we're all right this year, and that's another road we're gonna have to cross next year when we get there. And this taxing people every year does not work, I don't think, for the taxpayers. And we always talk about that everybody needs an increase. Well, nobody looks at the taxpayer. Yeah, everybody wants, but does anybody look at the taxpayer that's paying the bill? They're the ones that pay the bill. When I get somebody to come in and do some kind of work at my house, they up the bill. That's their business. It's a little bit different when you're in the private sector and your money comes from the taxpayers.
Let me point out, in those years, look at the fund balances at the time and what had to be done to keep this county operating. Nobody wants to do that. I sure as hell didn't want to do it. But sometimes you have to make that decision. And if that decision wouldn't have been made, you would be raising those taxes now as well. So don't get in that line of loading. You have to plan ahead. You cannot keep spending on the fund balance like you have, over $2 million this year and projected at almost $4 million next year. It just increase it $0.5 million would at least cover the salary increases, or almost cover the salary increases this year.
Oh, we have an excessive carryover, and I discussed this 3 weeks ago when we had our meeting. Talk about pay increases. One commissioner has consistently said across the board increases were not in the best interest of the county residents or taxpayers. Other individuals voted for consistent salary increases above consumer price index numbers without any consideration of true merit, because there isn't, unfortunately, a merit-based system for pay here in Carbon County. The system is broke when it comes to evaluations, so you can't objectively assess merit here in Carbon County. Also, I think it's important, should motion 22672 pass, which we'll be voting on here shortly, individuals who desire to continue in county government will be held accountable for the first time, likely in county history, for taxation, because the public will be able to go to the polls, the general election, and make a better informed decision on the intent of those individuals running or who seek re-election in regards to taxation.
The disadvantage of that, and at first I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But we afforded, the previous Board of Commissioners afforded the opportunity to you and to Mr. Arner here to sit in on those salary board meetings and budget meetings and to help you in that decision. Though, unfortunately, the election, if we do it before, that means those getting elected will not have that opportunity for the newly elected to really participate in the process or have a full understanding of what is going on.
I want to remind the public, 6 January 2020, in this room, a motion was made to reopen the budget, which we had the legal authority to do, right? I made that motion. I had it put on the agenda. That budget was not reopened, and then therefore, without due diligence, due assessment by this current seated board, the tax increase that was proposed by the previous board and approved went forward. We had an opportunity even back in 2020 to make a difference. And we had insight into the budget, thankfully, for the transition that took place, yet failed to take advantage of that opportunity to really do a deep dive on the budget. And just as I spoke to 3 weeks ago, $1.3 million in the operating budget is fluff. It's fat. Over $800,000 over $80,000 in budgets. It's, again, budget money, which was just not being utilized. We could have had a much slender budget if we would have taken action starting back on January 6th in 2020. Therefore, right, things are coming home to roost now, and this is where we are. And again, there's no doubt we're in a situation where a tax increase does not have to be encumbered upon the residents of Carbon County at this time.
Again, as you say, the over budget, that was carried over into the new budget. You've taken that out there, and we're still facing roughly a $3.8 million deficit. So how did that help?
We would have been in a more appropriate situation, understanding the fiscal situation of the county. We had excessive surpluses over these years. Yeah, you always need a buffer, but again, the numbers clearly show our carryover has been excessive. Let's get it down to a realistic number and a number that isn't going to continue to burden the taxpayer.
Well, I just want to warn you, and you don't know what is going to happen in 2023, as like we had the huge inflation, et cetera, that occurred. We didn't expect to spend over $1 million on the roof and air conditioning in this building. What would it cost to replace the roof in the courthouse? Ballpark.
I have no idea. I'm not
That's
the
what I
person
mean.
that's in charge of doing this. And again, we go back to this, we got companies coming in here that I'm still been asking for numbers and I still don't get them. So how are you supposed to make a definite, like even like these projects that are going next year? These projects that we budgeted for, are they even gonna happen next year? I've been sitting waiting for answers for almost a year already.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be another year?
Just wanna point out that those are the things that we have to keep a fund balance for the unexpected. We don't know what's gonna happen. The court system, as the people in the courts and a lot of the offices will tell you, how their caseloads are going up. We heard from children and youth yesterday about how their cases are the highest in the state for 6 class counties for reports coming in, at 40 a month now, or is that 40 a week? Yeah, 40 a week. So, you know, the county and the court cases, we have a couple of murder trials coming up in the near future. And this takes a lot more time, effort, personnel, unfortunately, a lot of other expenses. So I just feel that we're taking too much of the fund balance down.
I wanna, one correction I wanna make, I stated 80,000, it was 800,000 of, salary surplus, on average. I'll also mention, and I brought this up, numerous times in the first 2 years. One of the problems with county government is, right, we often don't take best practices from private business. I brought this up, right? We have a 1-year budget. We have no budget forecasting. Any legitimate company, what do? They forecast out 2 or 3 years. The majority of our budget items can be forecasted out for multiple years. The only area which is a little challenging really becomes the contingency. But the majority of our budget could be forecasted out for 3 to 5 years and then adjusted as you go into the actual year. So again, a shortcoming in our own process here in county government.
Well, that's what I'm looking at, those future years and forecasting what we're gonna have to do if we don't have slight increases now.
I challenged the controller to come up with a forecasting process in consultation with Jeff, our consultant, so that in the future, we can be looking out 3 to 5 years and anticipating tax increases, because inevitably they're going to come. So let the public, let us know, the taxpayer, when we can expect them. And hopefully, they won't come to that, or we can take actions to prevent them. But at least individuals, just like when you plan your annual budget at home, or long-term budget, you can go ahead and fit that into your plan. We don't do that in county government. It's a significant shortcoming in the fiscal realm.
Okay.
Good,
Yeah.
good, yeah, good.
Okay, I'm gonna call for the vote. Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No,
For adoption, budget resolution number 22037.
Motion adopt.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
yes.
Mr. Notstein?
there was no increase, correct, because of the capital projects? Or what was the increase, Jeff?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we haven't,
Yeah, no proposed increase on the tax resolution.
No,
Right,
no,
yeah.
so,
or
but
what, no.
the expenditures, will they meet without growing from the fund balance? That's my question.
Your general fund is budgeted about 3.4 million short.
Sure, but any of that funds going to the capital projects is what I'm asking.
No, the capital project fund already has their money, there's nothing going to the general.
Okay, so
So
that
the
guy
capital
can vote
projects, no.
yes on.
Okay. Next item is resolution number 22038, the tax levy resolution.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No,
No. Yeah, that's,
okay,
The department reports, the budget transfers.
Motion approved.
second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes,
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of payroll check numbers 74793 through 74814, and direct deposit check numbers 6048603 through 6049049 for the payroll paid through the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $654,551.36. This is the payroll dated December 16th, 2022.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 233291 through 233407 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $414,944.61.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The treasurer's report.
Move to accept.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The personnel report for county departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The acknowledgements for courts and row offices.
Motion acknowledged.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Budget process for approval. Authorize the county controller to forward budget documents to departments for completion no later than July 15th, 2023. This change in the schedule will allow the proposed budget to be acted upon by the Board of Commissioners and on display for the public no later than the third week of October 2023 and subsequent years thereafter.
I would like to bring a motion up, maybe to table this, and the reason that I'm saying I'd like to have it tabled for 2 weeks, and I am in favor of this right now, but I would like to see what the outcome of the salary board is, of our annual salary is gonna be, because if the annual salary changes, this is gonna change our whole budgeting system, how we're gonna be doing it. So I'd like to have this tabled for 2 weeks, and like I said, and if you wanna see where I'm coming from, if this goes up, if we wind up that the salaries go up, I don't know what's gonna happen. If there's an increase in salaries and the budget is raised, we're gonna need more time, because I said, we discussed it about having, we're gonna have a mad rush for job descriptions changed, we're gonna have a mad rush for salaries to be changed, and I think we need more time. I'm not wrong, I'm not, the deadline, like I said, and I think you said it, Chris, before, I don't wanna raise taxes, but if I have to, it's just gonna have to be accepted, and I'm not running on like what people are gonna vote for me. I'm running on what my best decision is. And I would just like to have it tabled for 2 weeks until after the salary board is done, that we could actually even put something in here a little bit more if we have to adjust salaries. And I know we really didn't talk about it that much, but what are we gonna do when the salaries are changed and we have to go through a different process? It's gonna take a little bit more time. We might even have to start this process earlier. So is it gonna hurt to put it off for 2 weeks? Probably not. It's not going to.
No, I don't have a problem putting it off, I just don't see how it's gonna change it. We are moving it up 1 month. We have to be more,
I'm just saying, maybe we have to start the process a month earlier, or
well,
2 months earlier. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, not the deadline. I'm looking at the start of, it all depends what's going on.
Okay.
I mean, you know how it's gonna be. There's gonna be a mad rush for job description changes,
I
and
wonder
that has to be addressed.
if we could let the controller just weigh in a
Yeah, see
little
what,
bit.
Well, I'm all for starting the process earlier. I've been saying that for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think the other key thing is to have the salary issues, which are a big part of the budget, obviously, resolved as you gentlemen are formulating the budget. Not formulating the budget, advertising it for
Yeah.
approval, approving it, and still having salary board
Right.
issues, and I'm on the salary
Yeah.
board. So that would be, I think, important as well. But if you go earlier than July 15th, we always try to give historical data, obviously, to the office holders. It might be too early if we can't give them at least half a year of data.
the other major concern is the state budget. being
Knowing what
adopted,
it is.
Knowing
yeah.
when it is, so that's
Right.
why I would be more in favor of making it July. At least we hopefully will know what is going on with the state and have a better idea at that time.
Right. When is the state budget typically
Yeah.
released?
Sometime in
July.
By June 30th.
Yeah,
June
June
30th.
30th, yeah, like July 1st, they
Yeah.
have
Not
to
that
have
they
it done
pass
by.
it on time.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, it
right.
might
That's
not
all.
be.
Yeah.
It could be August, September till it
Right.
gets done, but,
Sure.
does give us a little bit more time, so.
And I'm not, and like I said, I'm not against the end date. I think maybe when we go through the process, we have to have a little bit of a different meeting because what are we gonna run into? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot that has to be discussed
Right.
if the salaries aren't accepted as proposed right now.
Well, we have to hold the people to getting their budgets into,
Yeah.
it
Right.
has been an issue.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, some have been late, yes.
all right.
Let me provide, because we're still in discussion on that, discussion on tabled it. Are we gonna move forward? Cause I'll save my comments for discussion on the actual vote, or I can do it now, since this is not a formal discussion period.
That depends on who's slick.
So I'll do my comment
Yeah,
now,
I-
to provide a little historical context here, right? You know, the bottom line purpose of this motion is really, for me, it's about notably increasing elected official transparency, accountability, and importantly, ownership of our, and my own decisions, positions, and intention in regard to taxation on county residents, property owners, and taxpayers. My proposed motion, and I brought this up on 21 December, but I will tell you, this actually emanated from 21 November 2019, when a budget increase was passed after the election. So my proposed motion to modify the budget process timeline, you know, unquestionably further demonstrates my commitment to transparency and accountability in county government, and its most senior elected officials, of which we are. By ensuring that voters are armed with the vital piece of information, adjustment to tax millage rates, that often and inevitably impacts their economic well-being and correspondingly, you know, their decision in selecting the leadership of county government, mostly when it pertains to individuals running again. I've held constant to the position and viewpoint that the current budget process timeline place voters at an information deficit when they go to the polls for the general election, and the timeline allows career politicians and commissioners to mask their true intent in regards to taxation. Historically, the proposed AKA draft budget and corresponding tax resolution is not released until after the general elections, and any corresponding commissioner race, election debate, yet this issue, tax rates, is always a primary question asked of elected officials running for re-election, and first-time candidates. While I originally had intended to offer this motion during my, let me call it my annual offering of motions aligned with my vision for county government, it seemed like this was a more suitable timing. Please be aware that this motion was not an idea proposed off the cuff on 21 December when we had a discussion here, but rather arose after this board rebuffed my effort on 6 January 2020 to reopen the 2020 budget. How might have this level of proposed increased transparency have impacted the final results of previous elections? November 2019, where we had a 2 mil 19.5 increase, or the 2012 election, where we had a 48.7% increase. I mean, that is a rhetorical question that I ask, but I think it's important that we provide the voter as much information as possible so they can make informed decisions. And I also believe significantly, I think we all agree, that our process could be more effective and more efficient if we moved it forward. And Mark, you were spot on, and we all three of us talked about how salary, we put the cart after the horse when it comes in. And I think this is the step forward to bring those things aligned.
Well, let me remind you then, if I made that motion or approved that 48% increase in 2012, why was I reelected for 2016? And subsequent.
Oh, absolutely, I can answer that one, my gosh. The short-term memory of Carbon County residents, we as voters, is about what? A couple weeks. We forget so quickly. That's the unfortunate reality
Well, I think
of
they
it.
were, if you remember, I think the, people running against me at that time threw that out there and argued that, and yet I won yet.
Well, they
Wow.
couldn't have because.
Maybe they
no,
agreed with me.
No, Wayne, it could not have, the tentative budget was not released. Right?
No.
At
If
twenty
it
twelve?
was 2012, yeah, I was
Yeah.
elected then, but why was I reelected in 16 is what I'm saying, 4 years later.
Well, I don't know if it was used
Well,
against
And
you
it was
in twenty
brought out by
sixteen.
my opposition at that time, that's what I'm
Mhm.
pointing out.
Hey,
So
Mark,
it doesn't
I-
always mean-
Ineffective
I have a
strategic
question.
communications campaign by
And-
those who are running against.
And I'm
you.
just, and like I said, I'm just looking at it, I have no problem with that end date. Is there something in between there, like if you're gonna get you're getting that out to them by July 15th, okay? What would be the date that they would assure you that that's what they want, or what they would send to us? I mean, are they gonna have everything back by that date, or are you sending it out?
Sending it out.
You're
I thought it was-
sending it out.
I thought it was sending it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Not
where
bad.
is it protecting us? Like I said, if we have extra work next year that we have to have done, that we're gonna have to make a determination, they can't send it back like, September 30th.
No,
Like
no,
what if,
right.
That's what it is
I mean,
now.
and exactly, it is September 30th right now. So now if it comes to this, and I'm okay with this motion, can we make an adjustment to the motion that they have to have it returned by a certain date? I mean, that I can live with, that's my problem, that I wanna, and I don't know if it's something that and I said, I have no problem with that. As long as that can be modified to the date that it has to come
Right, I
back.
think we normally would give them 3 weeks, was it? I'm forgetting right now how much time we gave them.
Well, I would support a modification to the motion to put a suspense date on
Right.
information.
So
being
even if
brought
you would
back
give
from
them a
the
month, it would be
Even if
August 15th.
If it's 30 days, I think
August,
that's
I would-
reasonable.
End of August.
End of August?
Due, they are due, it's September
Oh.
now, we're moving it up a month. What are you thinking?
August 15th.
August 15th.
I heard voice of wisdom somewhere to my right.
I'll make a motion to modify.
A lot of years of experience, so I'll run that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to modify the motion to include, what would it be called, return
Yeah.
Right.
of the documents by August 15th. How's that?
Second.
Okay. That's all, that's all I wanted to get to,
Yeah, that's good.
but,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that would also give them access to actually end of July numbers as well.
yeah,
So,
okay, all right.
Mr. Honor?
Yes. Oh, do they need a second on that, though, the modification?
We got it.
Oh, you did it, okay.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, with comment, we are still at the mercy of the federal government.
Well.
So if we could
We never
modify
know.
Yeah.
our fiscal year, would be much better than
You've
like April
heard me
1st.
say it
Yeah.
many times, every time they pass a law in Harrisburg or Washington, it costs us money, so
Yeah.
they don't have to raise taxes.
Yeah.
That's the other issue, that irks me to no end. So,
Okay.
yes.
Next item, Children and Youth for approval and execution. The Children and Youth Services fiscal year 2021-2022, fourth quarter Act 148 invoice report totaling $779,476.
Motion approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
County Engineer for approval, the reappointment of Carbon Engineering Incorporated of Summit Hill, Pennsylvania as the county engineer and acceptance of the 2023 professional fee schedule, which represents no increase.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Boards and authorities, Environmental Education Advisory Board, reappointment, a 5-year term to expire December 31st, 2027. Kay Gilbert of Lehighton, Pennsylvania.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
A service agreement for approval, service agreement with Reynolds Business Systems of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, for equipment located in the Archives Department for 4 Canon reader printers, 2 ALOS microfilmers, 1 Minolta microfilmer, 2 Minolta reader printers for a total cost of $10,476. This represents an increase of $304 for the term of January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The solicitor's report?
Thank you. For approval and execution, a banner request was submitted by Marion Catholic High School of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania for their 10th annual Polar Plunge on January 28th, 2023, with the banner to be displayed from January 14th, 2023 until January 31st, 2023.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
On the 525 Iron Street Lee Heighton project for approval and execution of change order number 1 to the contract with CMG of Easton Incorporated of Easton, Pennsylvania, to add a transaction tray to the vision panel at no additional cost.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
And for the Emergency Operations and Training Center for approval and execution of change orders numbers 6 through 8 to the contract with Hayden Power Group of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, increasing the contract by $10,907 for a new contract total of $354,801.95 due to the addition of a flagpole fixture at a cost of $1,580. Emergency exit signs, emergency lights, and relocation of cameras and TV monitors at a cost of $6,948, and Wi-Fi access points at a cost of $2,379.
Move to approve and execute. I'd like to go to discussion if there's a
I'll
second.
second that.
I would just ask, because Commissioner Nosine knows this stuff inside out, and there was a question that came up, an email question, and I'd specifically help the public understand the need for relocating cameras, which I actually think you had mentioned previously, and then what the Wi-Fi access point provides in the regards to the value of the training and other requirements up there. Because the question was, we added another $10,000 to a project I think some people thought was finished, but these
Well,
were some
Yeah, well,
important
this was
features.
done quite a while ago,
Yeah.
and they finally got the change orders to us.
Yeah,
And what happened when the company Keystone came in to install the cameras, they found out what they proposed would not work. So Hayden Electric, who ran the lines and everything, had to change things. And I don't know if I should really go into the details now, because I'm not too happy with the other company. And we're certainly questioning an invoice for things that they claim they did or didn't do, and we have a meeting coming up, so I'm okay with this one. It's the subsequent one that we're dealing with right now that we're supposed to have a meeting and meet with these people who did what for sure. And some of this stuff here was done by this company when somebody else claims they did some work. So we're trying to get that hammered out. I did meet with some people yesterday, but we need to meet with Keystone, so I'm okay with this one, and that's the reason it's. So. And the Wi-Fi was added, which I think I talked about both of you,
Right, yeah.
adding access points for future, because of, in the future, to put it in now, let's, in the future, there will be tracking systems for the emergency responders that you will be able to pinpoint where they are at all times. As much as I'll say on that now.
Yeah, I think I answered your question with
Yeah.
the widening of my pupils.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Any further business? No? Commissioners' reports, Mr. Honor?
The only thing I want to wish everybody a great holiday, a safe and great holiday. And we did get a donation for the dog shelter, and it was actually from James Barkley. It's Colonial Medical Center, but it was actually they work with a group, and they have if you ever seen the change cans that are at different locations, and there was one at Pizza Como and one at Cindy's Deli in Lehighton, and they raised $1,000 for the dog shelter. So that's greatly appreciated, something that's, people just drop their change in a can. So thank you to all the people that threw the money in there. And that is it.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Nothing more than Merry Christmas to everyone.
Mr. Notstein?
Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. I just want to point out a couple of quick items and remaining safe. The extreme weather, temperature drops we will be experiencing tomorrow into Saturday. Several issues there. The windshields, I'm not sure what they're gonna be, but it doesn't take long to get frostbite when you're out exposure, dressed according to the weather, especially with the wind, which makes it real difficult to be outside, and it doesn't take long to go into hypothermia. The other issue is with the temperature dropping and the wind blowing, auxiliary heaters, et cetera. You know, don't use them if you don't have to. Make sure you have the proper extension cords. Keep it away from Christmas trees and other flammable furniture. The other big thing that occurred this morning was clean your dryer vents. So, it's just be extremely cautious with any auxiliary heating units, especially during the holidays. Don't, power goes out because of wind, don't run a generator at your window or in your garage. Make sure you have big enough extension cords, heavy duty enough, not a little brown extension cord that you plug into a lot of these appliances because it will burn. Jeff, did I miss anything in particular? Make sure your smoke detectors are working?
Check the batteries.
Yep.
So, okay, yes,
The Railroad Commission meeting
canceled.
canceled.
Railroad Commission meeting for next week is canceled. So, we'll have one in January. Okay, anything else? Meeting adjourned. Now, retirement board. Should be a quick one.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, we'll start with the approval of the minutes from the meeting held November 17th, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Zelinka?
Yes.
Mr. Svercek, I abstain since I was not at the meeting. Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Are there any guests concerning retirement board business? No, hearing none. Report of executive sessions, none were held. The next will be a motion to ratify the warrant, that's checks number 40867 to 40872, and direct deposit 7019533 to 7019937 for the month of November.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Zelinka?
Yes.
Mr. Svercek, yes. Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Next will be the November activity report. We had 2 retirement refunds and 2 retirements, and I want to always recognize our employees retiring, Mrs. Gasker and Mrs. Ham, a combined service of almost 31 years of service to the county. Want to wish them a long, happy, healthy retirement. And the total monthly benefits for the month of November was $470,767.51. Refunds of $5,802.02. Total disbursement of $476,569.53. Portfolio value as of 11/30/2022 was $84,417,886.85. Always give the most recent update as of last Friday. We had a drop down to $81,327,851. But still a lot of turbulence in the market, obviously. Okay, next is the annual motions to set the interest rate for the retirement members' accounts for 2023. It's been at 5.5% for many years. The range is 4% to 5.5, so I would make the motion to keep it at 5.5.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zelinka?
Yes.
Mr. Svercek, yes. Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Thank you. And then the other motion is to reimburse the 2022 retirement administration expense to general fund. It always seems like the motion's premature because we don't have the exact number until the first quarter of the following year. However, last year it was 262,000 and change. So we're anticipating that amount to be very close to that. But we still need a motion at this meeting to do that.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second question, is there any reason we have to do it this month?
I don't know, it's been done historically that long before I got here, so I've been following the same practice. And I thought,
You're supposed to approve it in December to allow it to occur, because you could potentially have a different board.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
You're reimbursing
Then it
this
would
year's
automatic,
expenses.
yeah, it would go
You
over.
could potentially
yeah,
have a different
automatic.
board.
okay,
Okay.
so a bookkeeping matter,
Certain years.
right?
Okay,
Okay, second, Wayne?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zelinka?
Yes.
Mr. Svercek, yes. Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Thank you. The last thing was cost of living adjustment review. I did share that with the board before. I don't know if there's any questions about that. All right, hearing none, thank you. Correspondence, I did not receive any correspondence to bring to the board. Next would be solicitor's report.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Investment manager report, we don't have anything from investment manager. Sarah Wilson of Marquette was here last year. Her next scheduled time will be, I believe, the month of February to do year end. Anything under new business? Anything under old business? For other business, I just wanted to wish everyone on behalf of the retirement board, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of our employees, our retirees, and of course, the residents of Carbon County.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
13.
The only question I have, now that the budget is proposed, no tax increase, what do you just want to let the residents and taxpayers of Carbon County know about this?
Be prepared for next year.
You might have to go
There's
back on
fair
your
warning.
film 20 minutes ago.
I warned you last year, I warned you this year.
Yeah.
And the reason the big tax increases come, because you don't do them gradually. Okay?